The leader of Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Chief Edwin Clark, is urging President Bola Tinubu to adopt the eminent persons doctrine of necessity proposed by former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, as the sole means of resolving the political crisis in Ondo State. In an open letter addressed to President Tinubu, the former Federal Commissioner for Information, Clark emphasized the urgency of resolving the Ondo State impasse. Now, Clark, who is not from the Southwest Geopolitical Zone or Ondo State, stressed his role as a senior citizen of the country, expressing the belief that it is their duty to provide support and advice to the president in addressing various challenges. In the letter titled Urgent Need to Resolve the Ondo State Impasse, Clark highlighted the importance of concerted efforts to avert crises, specifically in light of the escalating insecurity issues across the country. He urged the president to reconsider Gowon's doctrine of necessity as a strategic approach to prevent any crisis from unfolding in any part of the nation, with a specific focus on the Northwest region. Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now for a compelling discussion on the untangling of this knot in Ondo State. He'll explore the intriguing dynamics and the recent appeal by PANDEF leader Chief Edwin Clark, urging the adoption of the doctrine of necessity to unravel the complex situation. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale.
So, will invoking the doctrine of necessity as suggested by Chief Edwin Clark be the solution to this crisis in Ondo State?
Well, my first reaction, you saw the story before this, the crisis in River State.
Yeah.
Okay, that is, I'm happy he said it, that although he's not from Southwest, as the father of Nigeria, he has a duty to intervene. But I think charity should begin at home. There's problem between Wiki and Fubara, but let us leave that aside. I'll comment on that later. The doctrine of necessity is making a circumstance that is seemingly unlawful, rationalizing it. It's a matter of resolving an exigency, logically or legally, or giving it the cloak of normality. That has been done in this case by the president. Some people are even criticizing that it is not the duty of the president to intervene. But the president has intervened out of necessity, and the principle is still holding. Nobody has violated it. In fact, he gave 3 centers of power to monitor the arrangement they made. That the deputy governor should sign an undertaking. I mean, a resignation, a positive resignation, which he will leave. He has not said he has not done that. Then the head of service to be in charge of the bureaucracy, and the speaker to make sure there is no impeachment. There is no better example of the doctrine of necessity that I know than that, because it is a convenient arrangement to make things work normally in the midst of crisis. The one in River State needs more than the doctrine of necessity. If there is not going to be warfare between the APC and the local PDP and the APC, which is taken over through Wiki. Even this doctrine of necessity cannot solve that. But then, you see, it's a matter of nomenclature. The intervention of the president, because it is his own party. You know, I said he waited almost too late before intervening. Now he has intervened. That is the doctrine of necessity to save the situation. Some people may not like it, but it is still holding. It's a problem-solving strategy, and it has worked. That is what the doctrine of necessity is meant for. It was used during the time. It has been used in so many places. You get me? To give a semblance of normality to a situation that looks contentious and almost dangerous. A situation like that is very much in River State now. Let my elderly old man He's a veteran. I respect him a lot. It's like our Adebanjo. It's like our OBJ. They have a right to intervene. But you see, events unfold without respect for anybody and in different contexts. And every dog has his day.
Okay, Mr. Sobowale, you know, while we're speaking from a comparative perspective, when you look at the latest development in Rivers State, you can see that constitutional tools are now at play in order to effect whatever the outcome will be.
It depends on what you mean by constitutional
tools. Lawmakers crossing the floor, and ultimately, if those lawmakers are then used to proceed with whatever the proceedings may be, whether it be impeachment and so forth, it's constitutional. But let's look at Ondo State, where it seems that there are both efforts to create political solutions alongside constitutional solutions, and they're trying to meet somewhere in the middle, and it's causing it's almost causing a vacuum where there's no real solution preferred, and we no longer know who's really in control, even after the president's intervention. So my question to you is, what do you think is the way forward? Because you have senior people from Ondo State, such as Kayode Ajulo, the son, who was on the morning show just last week, and he was saying that, well, the solution preferred by the president is a doctrine of necessity. It's not constitutional. And that there is a constitutional way to resolve the issue. So what is the best way to really go about this? Politically or constitutionally?
To go about it is the doctrine of necessity.
So politically, the political solution.
That is it. Okay, let us see the one on the ground by Tinubu now. He is the leader of the party. The deputy governor may refuse to go along with what he has said. Some lawyers have said it is illegal. You see, a doctrine of necessity is extrajudicial, literally. So if you have 100 lawyers, we have about 100 opinions, depending on which side of the fence they are sitting on. So it is something made for convenience, and it is still holding. It is when it is not holding that you can talk about it. Then I'm saying, don't put it under the table. That the man intervened all the way from Port Harcourt to settle the crisis in Port Harcourt before flying to Akure. Don't you see the analogy? Yes. It's not my fault.
Well, he said he'll write a separate letter.
Just coincidental.
He said he'll write a separate letter.
It came just before.
No,
I was going to talk about it before.
In his letter, though, he said he'll write a separate letter to them, to the president.
So, he's the father of the nation. He has intervened judiciously, responsibly. It's okay. But there's something on the ground. You don't need to invent the wheel to solve the problem. And it is being done.
Well said, Mr. Sobowale. Of course, you're in support of this being invoked. But this past weekend, we also understand that the new AIG of police in charge of Zone 17 for Ondo State, he warned against the breakdown of law and order by groups planning to protest the political logjam in the state. So I'm just wondering, what would you also like to see implemented immediately to prevent a further breakdown of law and order while things are being sorted out?
There's no breakdown of law. You just said it, that you want people to avert a breakdown of law and order. Don't jump the gun. I'm
talking about preventative measures.
That's right. That's what the police is doing. That is the duty. See, it's not as if I am supporting what is, and I'm not a member of APC. And I know Akeredolu from a distance. I know some of them, but not too personally. So that is not the issue. It is, before these people were asking the president to intervene, that it is his party. He traveled and came back, and he spoke to them, and then we spoke of party discipline, party hegemony, and all that. That thing is holding. But you see, in Nigeria, it's not only in Nigeria. Ajulo, even if you put three stars together, it depends on your political seal they are wearing. You will have as many divergent opinions on issue. But this is an extra legal issue. Do you get me? So you cannot invoke the Constitution. It happened during Yar'Adua's time. I don't want to comment too much on that, but we had no president for a long time. For the obvious reason that some people did not want Jonathan to be acting president. But then laws were passed. But that is at the very center. But this one is a state, within the Nigerian state. And this is the party of the sitting president, and he has intervened. That is the principle of necessity which he has invoked.
Now,
if it breaks down, it's a different issue.
So if we're saying that this can be settled beyond the realms of the Constitution by invoking the doctrine of necessity, how do we now stop other players from also trying to piggyback off of the fact that they also feel that the solution is outside of the Constitution and they're seeking other ways of redress? How do we control that and contain it?
You have to be a magician to know who will be sick next or who will die next. You get me? These are exceptional circumstances, very rare circumstances. But then, fortunately, or fortunately for some people, there are antecedents to follow. And that is what is happening. But you see, those in opposition will always not see anything the government does as perfect, and vice versa. So that is the nature of politics and politicians. We can only do analysis here. That is my take.
That's your take, and we respect your take, and thank you for your time as always.